Hello, everyone, and welcome. We've got a Division 13 matchup here today between UC Santa Cruz's C team and Utah State's B team. My name is Joe, and I'm the commissioner of the Collegiate Chess League, and this is our spring 2023 season. The games have started, so let's dive right in and see what the players are up to. All right, it looks like we have, it's L up against A. That's Andrew Wang from Santa Cruz, and L is Levi Henriks. So it looks like Levi is the favorite here in rating, 1380 versus 966. This is a Division 13 matchup, so the divisions are based off team rating. So these are some of the lower rated teams in the league. We only have 14 divisions. So this is the second lowest division that the Collegiate Chess League has to offer. But what's really cool is that pretty much anyone of any rating is welcome to play and to join. And as you can tell, this is Santa Cruz's C team and Utah State's B team. So these aren't like the best teams from their schools. But everyone is welcome to play, and I'm really excited to see them compete and to represent their school. And we even have cash prizes for these lower divisions. Every division in the league this year has at least some cash prizes at stake for the playoffs. So these players and these teams are competing for something. Right now, we're in week 4 out of 7 of the regular season. So after the 7 weeks are done, the record of each team will determine which seed they get for the bracket. So even though Aw is less than 1,000 rated, playing against someone that's 1380, I think they're doing pretty well. They've lined up a threat here, right? Queen takes was a threat. Levi is able to find that. Rook comes over, pressure on the e-file. And white just solidifies the knight in the center. Well-placed knight. The bishop's attacking it. With the threat of rook here, if bishop takes, pawn takes, we could trade rooks and then win this pawn, threatening checkmate. But white's defending this knight even more, and that last line wouldn't have worked anyways because there's queen takes. But having the knight defended again helps free up the queen if the queen wants to move out of the way somewhere. Eventually, we already have a result. Here we have Naked Bird. That is, who is that? Robert Box, top board from Santa Cruz, playing against John Will Arnell. So let's check out how this game went. We have an Italian Joko Piano, and we have, apparently this is the Jerome Gambit. I don't know if I've ever seen a Jerome Gambit in the Collegiate Chess League, but lo and behold, there you have it, folks. Queen check, pawn check, castles, queen check. I mean, this queen h3 is just made in one right here. Queen check, pawn check, that's just a fork. So the Jerome Gambit strikes here in Division 13. Naked Bird using it to beat John Willis. So wow, I was not expecting a Jerome Gambit today, but here you have. I mean, these Division 13 players are really keeping me on my toes here. That's exciting stuff. Okay, let's see. We have another game going on. We've got Young Malcolm C versus Russell Elliott. Russell is the ambassador, or one of the ambassadors, I should say, from Santa Cruz. He's a club leader. His rating is showing 346, so that's definitely pretty low. But his opponent is only 850, so really anything can happen. You never know. I'm excited. I'm excited for these games, man, because I mean the eval bar has meant it's never meant less. Oh man, I'm sorry if that's rude, but I just love that anything can happen. Absolutely anything. The ratings have never mattered. I mean, what was going on with this position? D6. I mean, this queen opposite the king. Malcolm hasn't yet castled. Knight F6 looks pretty good. Pretty annoying. Right? It just hits the queen. I don't know. I don't know what else. Probably castling is good for Malcolm. And there's also so much time left on these clocks as well. Let me see. UC Santa Cruz. They have 3 ambassadors. Russell is one of them. Yeah, Daniel Perlov and Vasisht Suresh, but they are not playing here on the C team. Utah State has 1 ambassador that I know of. And I don't think he's playing on this team either. But I wonder if any of them are tuning in or watching. I did let them know that they're playing. Okay, so let's see. We had the move F4, now D6, and now Knight F6. Rook sacrifice and exchange sack. Queen takes with check. King over, and now we have to deal with this. So Russell, he knows to give up the exchange. He's going to win 2 pieces for that rook, 2 knights. So that's good. Can white stir something up in the meantime? Not so easy. Probably just castles, right? Either which way. Castles kingside, I think, is a little bit better because you put the rook on the f-file. After pawn takes, we've got a very strong pawn center, and we have the rook and queen lined up. White does not go for that. They go for this instead. And now what? Now what? Computer didn't like that so much. How's Levi's game going? Okay, we've got king and pawn, but it's an H pawn, so if white just holds the king in the corner, it should be a draw. We'll see how the technique is here. Plenty of time for Levi. That's going to be a really good score for... Is that Andrew? Yeah. Andrew being able to get a draw here against Levi is pretty good. That's Utah State's top board on their B team here. I'm just keeping an eye out here. You never know. I mean, you just got to make sure it turns out to be a draw. I trust Levi, especially with 340. Levi offered a draw. Black said no. Let's play on. I'm going to force this pawn through and promote. Trying to triangulate here with the H pawn. Let's see. King up. Yeah. Very important to go to H1. All right, they might three-peat. Levi offered a draw again, and they agreed that time. Okay. Back to this game. This game's been quite the roller coaster. Let's see. Rook here, pawn push. Rook takes, hitting the queen. Queen trade offered, declined. Rook in. Knight here looks to be pretty annoying to me, right? Attacking this guy. Cutting off the queen's communication. Rook's doubled now. Rook here is a big threat. Knight f6 is pretty much forced. That's going to be not so easy to find for Russell, I think. All right, found. Out of necessity. A good move, for sure. And this paves the way for the bishop to hopefully come out somehow. Bishop here, here, something like this. Russell's still in it. All right, we've got the queen and the 2 rooks tripled up. We also have the 4th game starting here between Cavi and Piehead. Cavi Amatz. And Pie Head is Colin Bernard. So we'll keep an eye on this game for now. Black lifting the A pawn. Maybe trying to get the rook involved, but the bishop needs to come out for sure. F5. Maybe helping Russell bring the bishop out with the free pawn to boot. White probably just trying to stir up some trouble, trying to take on G6, but we'll see. Yeah, Russell's fixated on the rook. Unfortunately, not bringing the bishop out. This allows for Black to take on G6. That's going to weaken Black's king even further. Rook now attacking the knight. Good news for Russell is his rook here helps defend this. But also bishop here should be very helpful, as that bishop is supported by the pawn. Another thing about moving the bishop and leaving the rook back is that the rook would help cover the back rank. Yeah, and this pawn continues to push, but to no help. Interestingly, I wonder if there's any tactics now for young Malcolm. Although young Malcolm is under a minute now. Okay, we see an exchange sacrifice, but again, Russell had his rook on a6 to help defend. So how to take back here? Queen takes, which I understand. We have rook check, king steps up, and now trade of queens. And Black should be able to, well, White's going to get the bishop back at the end of this. If they trade queens here, there's really nothing else that they have. Low time, less than 30 seconds now. Russell's looking good here as every second passes. I don't know how good these players are in time pressure. Queen steps back. So now Black is able to hold on to the bishop, actually. Like even rook e6. Yeah, this is a solid move from Russell. Nicely found. Just splitting the queen and the rook. Forcing a trade. Less than 15 seconds now for Malcolm. Rook takes. Pretty much the only move. Queen takes back, offering a trade. White declines, wisely so. Playing a check. Russell's got a retreat. Queen check here. Moves the king again. White maybe going to try to get a perpetual here. Queen check, but Russell says no. Blocks with the queen. Yeah, can't trade queens just yet. Keep blocking like that. Queen takes a pawn, but Russell can trade now. Russell also has mate in 1, which he finds. A nice finish. Russell getting 33 points out of that. So probably provisional, I'm guessing. Let's look at the other games. Let's see. What happened with Andrew and Levi Drew, right? Yeah. Half a point and half a point. So right now, Santa Cruz has a 2.5 point score to only a half a point from Utah State. We've got one game left in this opening round here. We've got Cavi versus Colin. All right, pawn takes. Both sides have castled kingside. Looking solid so far. So Santa Cruz seems to be the favorite here in this matchup. Knight steps back. Black's going to have an issue getting the light squared bishop out with this pawn structure. Taking here first. A good move, undoubling the pawns. White's going to take back with a knight, I'm expecting. That or take back with the pawn. Yeah, taking back with the knight maybe isn't so great. This does attack the c6 pawn. Okay, the c6 pawn's pushed, attacking the knight. So this saves the pawn, but it doesn't save the square. The knight could still go to c6. And what that does is it attacks both the queen and the bishop. It's known as a fork. The queen would then have to retreat back. Actually, it's not so easy because notice the bishop covers this square and the knight covers this square. So where on earth would the knight actually even, or the queen even go? That's actually just straight up a fork. You can't even save the bishop. And white finds it. A nice move from Kavi. Black's going to have to save the queen and realize that they can't save the bishop. That's going to come with check. And the knight can then escape by capturing yet another piece. If this bishop wasn't here, well, if the bishop had developed, the knight couldn't even come here. So instead of saving the pawn like this, you had to defend the pawn, defend the square, really. So queen here, knight takes with check. And the king's going to move, and the knight has nowhere to go but to take the bishop. If you don't take the bishop right away, that allows for black to develop the piece, and that actually traps the knight in. A move like queen here would be able to win that knight back. So it's very important here that Kavi continues with the knight capture of the bishop. Computer is actually disagreeing with me. It says that there's two moves here for white besides taking the bishop that still hold. And of course, both of them are tempo moves on the knight. So knight here, and now bishop b7. I think you save the bishop, and then queen's going to come here. And that's going to be an issue for the knight. We'll see if Colin finds it. Definitely, it's going to be tough to try to come back from, being down a piece. But the thing about these games is that you're never out. So now queen e8, and you get the knight back. This isn't so bad for Colin. We'll see if they find it. White wants to play for c4. In fact, c4 was the best move before this. If c4... Yeah, like, oh my god, right here, that's mate in 1. Unbelievable. Hello, Kim Stud. Good to see you. How'd your stream go? We might just see knight takes pawn. We might just see that. Queen e8 was needed. The rook was defending this. Hard to remember that, when your king gets put in the corner, this f pawn doesn't have the same number of defenders. So Kavi sacks the knight for a pawn. So still good. I mean, this pawn's still also hanging with check. You didn't play well. That happens. As long as the stream is good, that's all that matters. All right, knight takes. So the f7 pawn was immune. Rook to d8. I love this move from Piehead. So Piehead blunders a piece, but he lives to tell the tale. And I actually I think I like black better here, to be honest. White's actually up a piece, but look at this move. I mean, who knows, really? It just seems like a strong move to me. That's what I would do. I mean, I assume Kavi would see it. I feel as though Kavi would see it. Piehead, though, has to watch the clock. Less than 30 seconds. All right, queen c6. Watch out, Kavi. Okay, Kavi sees it. Defends. Very wise. I like knight d5. Less than 15 seconds. He puts the rook on d5. He saw that the square was good. He didn't see which piece to put there. So he goes with the rook. Where does the rook want to go? h5? Not so sure. Knight here, hitting both queen and bishop. Very smart. Queen back. Knight takes bishop would be a good move. Yep. Knight on the rim trades off for that beautiful light square bishop that black had. Pawn hits the rook, but the pawn is pinned. The rook moves anyways. Bishop can come back. That actually wins a pawn. Well, yeah. This is a good move. We'll see if Kavi finds it. They do. So the rook has to drop back. Bishop's going to take the pawn here. No, does not. So now the rook should save itself. This pawn no longer attacked. Kavi trying to trade. Black doubles. 11 seconds for Colin. Queen takes. That prevents rook d1 from white. Pawn push. Potentially weakening the b pawn. 8 seconds. Queen comes in with check. There's bishop block, queen here. 7 seconds. Colin's got to go faster. Hard to do. Rook here hits this pawn. Pawn push. 3 seconds. 2, 1, move. 2.2 seconds. Oh man, I saw it flash 0. They're gonna flag. 2.3. Okay. No time. Just no time. All right, Kavi with the big point, and Santa Cruz, they're a half a point away from sweeping that first round. They're ahead 3.5 to a half. So gonna be a tough start for Utah State to get past. They're gonna have to answer back in the remaining rounds. Luckily for them, that is just the first round. We do have 3 left. No longer up a piece after knight took pawn. True Blobberin. All right, folks, we've got round 2 beginning. The players were waiting for that last game to finish, but quite the roller coaster. All right, game aborted. Let's check on Russell. I think Russell might be underrated. Just a hunch. This is apparently the ready opening. Are you ready for this? That's what Russell's saying to Levi. Do you guys think it's pronounced Levi or Levy? Is this how Levy Rosman spells it? Because I feel like based off how it's spelled should determine how it's pronounced, but maybe it's pronounced differently regardless of how it's spelled. Who knows? Anyways, Russell may be going for the double fianchetto. He's pushed both g3 and b3, but he gets checked, so he blocks with the bishop. I was maybe thinking blocking with the knight to preserve fianchetto capabilities, but takes with the queen, and now bishop comes out. He doesn't fianchetto. He blocks with the bishop this way to defend, but either way, he's ready to get castled. Bishop takes, so probably he wants knight here. And that's going to hit the bishop. You got to watch out. Don't castle. And don't just do nothing, because that is going to be a free piece and more. So probably you go here is my guess. Here or here. Yeah, bishop here. Probably this is a little bit more accurate. Just to stay in the structure of castling. So probably castling now. This bishop has a very important role of guarding this square. Very important not to let go of that square. Otherwise, you're in trouble. You'll get forked. So the bishop cannot move to c2. Mr. Jagerman? Jaggerman? Jagerman? Cheering on Utah State. Let's go. I wonder if we've got any Banana Slug fans in the chat. What's the Utah State mascot? What are you guys? I don't even know Utah University's mascot. Go Slugs, says Selfish Games. That's interesting. I thought you'd be a fan of Utah. The Aggies, that's right. Big Blue Bull. Nice. Well, I've been to Utah. I've also been to Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is nice. I don't think I visited Utah State, unfortunately. Banana Slugs are definitely more original, I will say, compared to the Aggies. There's a lot of Aggies out there. I'm pretty sure UC Davis are Aggies. Texas A&M, I think, are Aggies. I don't know. I don't know how many other Aggies are, but I could not tell you any other Banana Slugs. Slugs are relative of snails. Fun fact. I don't actually know chess. How is USU doing? USU is in a bit of a pickle right now. The Aggies are getting beat by the Banana Slugs. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Right now, Santa Cruz is up 3 points to Utah State's half a point. I mean, it's 3.5 to a half. The good news for the Aggies, though, is that there are 3 more rounds, including this one. So there's plenty of games left for Utah State to mount a comeback. And, you know, if it was a race, I feel as though, okay, this is a very dangerous situation. Black put the knight on g4, kind of dangling it for bait, and the bishop took the bait, and now queen takes. That bishop, remember, was a very important defender of the f3 square. The knight, if landing on f3, would fork the king and the queen. That'd be called a family fork, a royal fork, winning the queen. So white pushes the pawn so that the rook can guard the f3 square. Unfortunately for white, the queen and the knight were both attacking f3. It was only defended once. So black could have actually taken that pawn and forced white to give up the rook for it, and queen takes. So black could have won a pawn and a rook for this knight. But instead, they were frightened by the pawn and they retreat backwards. This kind of cuts Russell a break here. Levi now having to retreat. He's under the attack. First bring the queen back, and now the knight hits the rook. I was expecting rook e8 to defend the pawn, but no. The rook goes instead to d8, attacking the knight, and the knight wanted to move anyways. The knight comes back to take the e pawn. Now the queen's attacking the knight. The knight's got to find a new home, or you can defend the knight. So 2 options here, push or retreat. Probably pushing makes more sense. That frees up the f3 square for the knight, but nope, the knight comes back. Now Levi is attacking white's rook, so I'm expecting this rook to move. Am often LOL, thanks for the follow. All right, so the knight hit the rook. The rook moved, but the rook went to another square attacked by the knight. So Levi wins an exchange, saves the c pawn, and now black is attacking the d pawn. So rook comes here. Queen can come here, though, and that's going to attack both the d and the a pawn. So Levi playing very well. That's also attacking this, by the way. So probably we need to play here or here, just defending these things. But the problem is this is going to fall. That makes the b pawn very weak. This also makes the a pawn a connected pass pawn. All of those together mean that Levi is basically just going to be crushing once this a pawn starts pushing. Russell's trying to create some counterplay in the center, but it's going to be too little, too late. A simple trade. Pawn takes. This is a pass pawn, but black's going to be able to scoop it up just like that. Queen check on the king and a fork on this pawn. And these two pawns are just going to be too hard to stop, especially with all the trades. So Russell's going to go down in this game. His opponent, I mean, almost 1,000 rated higher than him. So yeah, Russell's definitely playing well for his rating, but not well enough to overcome the difference. Let's check on some of the other games. Here we go. We've got Colin versus Robert. Mr. Jaggerman. Are you part of the chess club at all? I'm guessing not. If you don't know. But how'd you find Utah State streaming chess? If you're a fan, would love to know. 30 seconds for Colin. Utah has a big chess tournament coming up at University of Utah next month. So I'm hoping Utah State will go. I'm hoping BYU will go. I think they will. There's another school in Utah that's part of the ambassador program. It's called Western Governors University, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, this is completely winning for Robert. Actually, no, for Colin. Colin's winning. That's actually a big upset. That's really good for Utah. Leadership and broadcasting. Trying to get a good look on what other people are doing for their overlays. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you got that 20K payout, Brady. That's really good. All right, so let's see. Colin surely knows how to mate with the queen and the king, right? Surely. All right, here's the knight technique, right? Oh, maybe not. We might be witnessing a core memory here, folks, from Colin. Let's see if they know how to mate. Don't stalemate. Well, Colin's also only has 30 seconds. That's mate in one. That's also mate in one. Very nicely done. They found it. They had 3 different mate in ones there. I was not going to lie. I was going to get a little nervous there. Not going to lie. All right, both these players less than 30 seconds. What's going on here, folks? Both players under 1,000. I think White's got the initial advantage here, up 1 pawn, but they're both in a time scramble. Anything can happen. Let's give Colin their point. Let's see. Colin got a point. Levi got their point. So Utah State is answering back. They were down by 3. Now they're only down by 1. That's a free rook, folks. Rook here. Young Malcolm drops a rook, and White's going to try to trade off more rooks and then win this game. So there goes the pressure. Rook here, trying to trade further. Rook here to keep it on, and now White's going to push this pawn. Black's going to try to block, but defend and then put this rook here. Yeah. So the time pressure. Malcolm drops both rooks. Maybe going to resign at this point. Maybe going to play on. I don't know. They've put a halt. All right. Andrew They were the only player not to get a win in the first round from Santa Cruz. They get the win there. So Santa Cruz back up by 2, but there's 1 game left. How's it looking? Okay, looks good for John. That is the board 3 from Utah State. So Utah State should win this one. You're a USU B team fan, Brody. Very nice. All right, guys. Utah State's going to win this. So first round was 3.5 to 1/2. This round was 3-1. So Utah State answers right back. They're going to be down by 1, though, but still very close. We're going to actually do a prediction in the chat. We'll see who will win. USUB or UCSCC. So we've seen 2 rounds. Santa Cruz is going to be up by 1. This game's not over yet, by the way. I mean, we could still see a mistake. There's a check. Force the king back. This king's going to win the pawn. Another check. The king should move up. The knight, if the knight wasn't there, this would be mate. Here, and this is mate. We might see the pawn push, by the way. We might also see the knight move. Go back this way. No. Let's see. We do have chances for stalemate or draws as well, by the way. Okay, there goes the pawn push. King's moving. Of another pawn push. This allows for that. Promote. The king should take. Okay, this is mate in 1. Missed. Rook here, king here, queen here's mate. Nope. Queen's gonna mate next. All right, John gets on the board. So, a rough start for Utah State, but they're right back in it. They won round 2 3-1. So that first round was just a warm-up for them. They were waking up. So 4.5, 3.5. Santa Cruz, though, still with the lead. They're going to have to answer right back. We have 10 points on the banana slug so far. You've thrown worse. We've seen it. So Mr. Jaggerman, leadership and broadcasting for USU. So do you guys do like more traditional esports for broadcasting? Like what else do you guys broadcast? I'm assuming you guys are just on Twitch, right? Okay, we've got 2,000 points bet on Utah State. So the bet for Santa Cruz is looking pretty good right now. That's all right. Let's see. We've got that's Selfish Games putting some channel points online. We've got a big time gambler, 20 points. Valorant chess? Wait, are you saying that you guys stream chess? R6. Rocket League, the works. Yeah. League of Legends. That's cool. What channel do you guys stream on? I would give you guys a follow. Would you like to meet with the Utah State Chess Club? I could introduce you guys. Do you guys have like an esports facility? Because that would be really cool if the chess club could use it. USU_esports. Let's give you guys a shout out. Did you guys have you heard of NACE? NACE Star League? National Association of College Esports? Because that's who our partner is that runs the CCL. So exclamation point NACE, and you can see the Collegiate Chess League schedule and all of the divisions. All right, trade of knights. Queen takes pawn. So white is up a pawn and ahead in development by a significant amount. Look at how much lead in the center white has here. Both queen and knight are out. Here we have en passant. Some say it's forced, but maybe you want to keep this pawn structure intact. Have you heard about the ambassador program? You know, Brody, Utah State is already in the ambassador program. So it really makes me smile knowing that you want to keep recruiting people to the ambassador program, regardless of whether or not it will win you a $50 gift card to the House of Staunton. You've kind of taken chess under my wing. I plan on streaming their game Saturday, and they are always welcome. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, do you know Matthew Ritchie, I believe? That's the ambassador that we have at Utah State. So Brody is another ambassador. He's at a different school, but our ambassador program is pretty cool. We basically give out free memberships and free merch to college chess clubs. So we're actually sending a merch package to Utah State. Santa Cruz has also gotten merch from us. Brody's gotten merch from us. Brody might even be wearing some of our merch right now. Matt's a good friend. That's awesome. I love to hear that. Are you a student or are you like a staff member? Also, did anyone else bet for the banana slugs, or was it just all? Wow, okay, prediction ended. So Brody put 2,000 on Utah State for the comeback. But Selfish Games only has 20 points on the line, so that's a pretty good return rate. Piehead, Colin, taking advantage of a blunder from Russell. Russell developed a knight that blocks the bishop's defense over d6. When black pushed the pawn, d6 became weak, a backwards pawn. What that means is that it wasn't defended by any other pawns. So it was attacked twice by the bishop and by the queen. It was defended twice by black's bishop and queen, but the knight blocked the bishop momentarily, giving white this opportunity to take the pawn. So now the knight moves, and now this bishop's hit twice, only defended once. There's a couple good moves here. There's this move, which Colin plays, and this helps put the rook in support of the bishop. So now the bishop's defended twice. All right, continuing the trades here. Russell takes, the rook takes, that hits this. Black can castle, that defends the pawn, and they do so. Now probably knight here makes a lot of sense to me. MD Richie in the chat, let's go. You're a student who's also doing your final internship under campus recreation. That's really cool. That's really cool. So do you have experience streaming? Do you yourself stream? Also, Matthew, are you hearing? I guess you go by Matt. You hear all these rewards and benefits that our good friend Mr. Yager man is providing. You guys can use the esports facility. You guys should definitely stream your matches on Saturdays. That'd be really cool. Also, Yager man, I don't know if you know this, and I'm assuming Matt has heard of it, but there's this Intermountain Regional Chess Tournament at Utah University. I have no idea if they want to stream it or not, but I would love if they did. That'd be really cool. All right, so they trade. White has won another pawn, but black is attacking the rook and the pawn now. So the rook, if it wants to save this pawn, it has to go here, and they do so. That's pretty cool. Now, you might want to flush the rook out with a move like knight here or knight here. Notice both moves attack, but the problem is the knight was very important on g6. It was guarding this e7 square. Now that the knight has moved, the rook can go to e7, and that's a fork that attacks both the king and the bishop. White missed it. They brought the rook down attacking this pawn, but this was a missed opportunity by Colin for sure. You're a Piehead fan. We all are really. He's definitely the favorite in this matchup. All right, the knight comes back. A wise decision. Attacking the rook yet again, and also guarding this e7 square. This, however, does lose the g pawn, but black can take a pawn back. So that ends up being a fair trade. Okay. Let's look at some of the other games here. We've got top board from Santa Cruz, Robert Box. And it looks like he's got black's king in a box, am I right? Yeah, white's just completely up a knight. So that's pretty good. Up a knight and a pawn. And maybe yet another pawn. Check here, king steps up. No more checks for white. You've been debating starting a personal Twitch. I mean, aren't you on your personal Twitch? Have you not streamed from there? All right, rook comes back. Perhaps to give check on g6. So let's see. Robert should be winning. Piehead should be winning. So those points balance each other out. John versus Andrew. That didn't look very good. Andrew just won a rook. A fork, nonetheless. So look at these bishops for black. Very deadly. Punch thrown here and a second follow-up here leads to a deadly combo. Knight moves, bishop check, king in the corner. That wins a rook completely. So, yeah, just up a rook entirely for Andrew and threatening back rank checkmate. That's not good. Bishop here maybe, or h3. 5 years. That's quite a while. So this is looking good for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is still up by 1. How's this one looking? Malcolm is the only player not to get any points yet. So Malcolm is having a rough match today. Playing up against Kavi. We've got even number of pieces. But black is down a pawn. So the king maybe is going to try to come here and try to win some pawns back. This pawn is hanging, by the way. Black could have taken this, and actually this pawn would have been very weak after that as well. But black perhaps played too quickly, missed the opportunity, and now white has connect 4. These are 2 connected passed pawns. It's very valuable, especially in the end game like this. D13 is more your speed. I mean, yeah, noob. I feel like you could play with these guys. This is the second lowest division, so not even the lowest division. There's still Division 14. And every division in the Collegiate Chess League has cash prizes available. So at the end of the season, these teams are going to be playing for money during the playoffs. So they've got cash on the line. And it's completely free to join. So these players put no money on the line, just nothing but time and energy. And yeah, I really like to see that. Wait, that's a free queen. That did force off the bishop, and white's still completely winning, but a very questionable method to Colin's madness. Let's see. Back to this one. Wait. No, Andrew's still completely winning. Yeah. This is the game that Andrew had the fork, and there's a checkmate. So Andrew is getting the job done. Andrew's the point leader right now for both teams. Up to 2.5 out of 3. Hasn't lost yet. We have another result. Cavi with the big point. So Santa Cruz coming up big. here in round 3, answering back from that second round loss. Colin should be able to convert this against Russell. And how's Levi doing? Levi is losing to Robert. I think we already established that. Could still be a draw, but the a-pawn's dropping. It's awkward with the bishop. Like, you almost would rather have it without the bishop. The bishop could spell trouble a lot of times and create stalemates. So, yeah, if I'm black, I would not take the bishop. Yeah, taking here, and now you help make it a bit easier. So, again, we'll see if they know. We had to question the last player to do it. Yep, questionable technique already. This has to be like the hardest part of playing in Division 13, is that you have to withstand my criticism. Don't play here. Don't play there. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or here, by the way. Okay, king here is fine. King here, and it's mate in 2. Yeah. Nice. All right. So Naked Bird with their second point out of 3. And Piehead gets a point. So bottom board for Utah State gets a point. And actually, Santa Cruz, they answer Utah State's 3-1 win with a 3-1 win of their own. That brings back their original lead of 3 from the first round. Utah State is going to have to sweep this 4th round if they're going to win. They cannot afford another loss on another board. They can only afford one draw. You're Division 16? That's not true. Next semester, you're going for D13. Brody, you are pretty good. I feel like you would not be able to find a team for D13. You're about my size on your personal stream. That's cool. Is your personal stream on the channel that you're using right now to chat? Yeah? Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you supporting the chess club and the chess community. The CCL is going to grow a lot. Is that so, Brody? You think that... What division are you in right now? Are you in D7? So that would be like saying that we add 6 divisions that are above your average team's rating. You're in D10. Okay. I was close. So you're saying, okay, with that, okay, that's actually more feasible. Just adding 3 more divisions. All right, bishop d3. White's getting ready to castle. Black needs to push one of these 2 pawns, get the bishop out, and get castled themselves. This is still the opening. This is called the Alpin, where black has the move c5, which is known as the Sicilian, against e4. So let me give a slow motion replay of this opening. e4, c5, that's called the Sicilian defense. And then c3, that's the Alpin. And the point of the Alpin is to play for d4. Colin knows their theory. The best response by black is d5 immediately. One drawback of pushing c3 is it takes away the square from the knight, which normally controls these 2 squares. So black is able to contest the center immediately with d5 and bring the queen out without threat of white kicking the queen away. So the point, though, behind c3 is to support this d4 pawn push. And that is attacking this Sicilian pawn on c5. So we see a trade, and now you might be thinking, this pawn, it's attacked twice and it's only defended once. Can black win that pawn? No, because if black takes, knight takes. If queen takes, we have bishop discovery check, winning the queen with our queen. So that was actually a little bit of a trap set there by Andrew. Both these players, even though they're below 1,000, they seem to know this Alapin theory quite well. Colin, not falling for the trick, brings the bishop out to attack the knight for a second time. This is actually a really tricky move. Best response here by Andrew is to bring the bishop back. Instead, bring the knight out. This attacks the queen, but this knight can be taken by the bishop. If knight takes, we have bishop takes. The queen comes back. This allows for the pawn to be saved. We can bring the bishop here and defend. That was actually a very interesting line if we follow this. Bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes. And I guess we have, what does it want us to do? Once knight takes f6 check. Very interesting. So if we give the check, the king will step up. We can take the rook, but then the bishop saves itself. And so black would have taken 2 knights for this rook. And the knight would be trapped, eventually caught by black's pieces. So that's why bishop takes works for black there, even though they're losing the rook. But we don't see that line. We just see bishop e3 like I thought, and castles for white. Black, meanwhile, needs to get the bishop out and get castled themselves. You can feel the forehead expanding. Yes. And this is Division 13. These players know so much. They've prepared for this. They knew that we would be streaming this match, so they got out the pen and paper. They were drawing X's and O's on the whiteboard in the locker room before this. They had a pre-team huddle, pre-match meditation. Truly, I mean, chess, you think it's a one-on-one sport? No, this is a team sport. All right, they were prepping lines. All right, castles for Colin here. Let's check on our good pal Russell. See how Russell's doing. Russell's king feels the breeze. Lots of pieces, taking away squares. Not that many pawns. This king, meanwhile, has the doors shut. The windows are boarded up. I mean, maximum security over here. White's going to try to launch maybe a pawn storm, but this king is feeling very cozy, very safe and sound. This king, meanwhile, in the projects, unfortunately, went queenside. So opposite side castles, these kinds of positions typically favor the side that can attack first. So we see pawn push to b6. This is preparing for the move a5. Bishop here trying to trade off. I mean, this is such a beautiful piece, right? It's right in the middle of the board on the longest diagonal. And this actually looks like it's good for white to trade that piece off, but this rook was overworked. It was defending the bishop and defending the pawn. Black can take here now. Will they see it? And that's the struggle of having these pawns pushed, right? Normally this pawn would be on a2. It could be defending the b pawn, or this pawn would be on b2 still, right? Defending the a pawn. But instead they've both been pushed, and now neither of them are protected. Black misses it. This gives white an opportunity perhaps to save it. Bishop here, very interesting idea. What that idea is, I couldn't tell you. Maybe it's taking away the c8 square from the rook so that black can't double. Another good thing about this bishop move is, remember, the bishop was on the back rank. This was limiting this rook. Now the rook sees the back rank, and this rook could actually move to e1. And if black takes here or does something else, we got to watch out for back rank checks. So there goes the pawn. Rook e1 played pretty quickly. Russell has a simple plan in mind. Is John going to fall for it? John does not fall for it. He tries to trade rooks. This could win a pawn for Russell, though. White can take twice here. At least needs to take once. Otherwise, you're going to lose a rook. So takes like this, wise. Pawn takes, pretty much the only move here. There's really nothing else you can do if you're John. Takes here. Now that's attacking this pawn as well. So even though Russell lost the b pawn, he threatened checkmate. Russell blocked and lost a pawn in the process. And now he's going to lose even more material. The knight is hit and the pawn is hit. Knight goes here attacking the h pawn. We can take here. We'll lose that. But we're going to go after the a pawn as well. So Russell is still fighting. Russell also has about twice as much time on the clock as John does. So that's going to be helpful once the clocks keep winding down. Let's check back in with Andrew and Colin here. So this was our Alapin game we were looking at. Rook just hitting the queen. Queen's defending both the pawn and the knight. This is looking like a solid position for white, but black is up a pawn. Black has an extra e pawn. So in the end, that's going to be favorable advantage for white. White's going to try to control the center, control the d file, keep the pieces in the middle, and hopefully get compensation in the form of activity, right? As soon as the queen moves, the rook can use this knight support to go to d7. That's going to attack the bishop and the pawn. So white still has chances here to win some material back. After this move, that's a mistake because knight d7. So not bringing the rook there, but the knight, and that's going to be a fork. So white is winning in exchange when you have a minor piece traded for a rook, and Colin is just so low on time. 15 seconds here. Has to move the queen. Knight takes rook. So black is up a pawn, but they're down in exchange. So that's a 1 point material favor for white. It's very tricky, especially with the time pressure. This is going to look better and better for Andrew as the game progresses. Black doubled on the c file. Maybe queen c2. Probably rook d2, if I'm being honest. Just attack the queen, flush the queen out of your territory, defend the b pawn. Rook here looks really good. Doubling, threatening back rank. Don't take the pawn. Very good move from Colin in time pressure, creating a flight square. Rook now to d2, defending the b pawn, trying to get a trade. Black leaving the pieces on the board, but this allows rook d7, hitting the bishop and the b pawn. There goes the b pawn. So now white is completely up in exchange, going to even win more material. This pawn pushes, but maybe white's going to track it down. Bishop here, very sneaky. If you take this, you get back rank mated. The bishop was covering the flight square, and now the bishop's in time to defend, but maybe this other rook can get to the 7th. 2 seconds for Colin. Gives a check. King steps up immediately. No time to breathe. Colin living off the increment. Rook here, a brilliant move. Trading, forcing that off. Bishop up, just don't give check. Imagine how devastating. All right, bishop takes pawn, rook takes pawn. Save your pawn, push. Very hard for Colin to hold on to this. But Colin able to anchor the bishop in the center. White's going to have to push for f4 at some point. Uh-oh, the pawn is running. Pawn push yet again. This pawn's unstoppable. Yeah, the bishop needed to come back in time to support. This f5 pawn push was too slow for Colin. So Andrew improves to 3.5 out of 4. They have a undefeated match here today. How's Russell doing against John? Looks like Russell is about to lose. Or is that so? Yeah. This is another king and queen endgame that we're witnessing. How's the technique here from our friend John? It's awkward seeing the pieces like this. It looks like Russell has the black pieces, but this is Russell and this is John. Queen here's mate. There you go. So John gets a point. And that's 2 points for John. Naked Bird got a point. That's 3 points. So Santa Cruz has won the match. But we've got 1 game left. Even though the match is over, Santa Cruz has officially won. The points matter for the standings at the end of the season for tie breaks. So these players, even though the match is over, they might also not even know the match is over, because it can be hard to keep track of the team score. But this point still matters. Kavi and Levi, both their names end with VI. Very interesting. They're gonna try to fight for whoever has the best name. I like Bishop F2 here. Bishop F2 looks like a good move, in my opinion. Pawn push. Computer did not like that for whatever reason. Knight B7. Attacking the C pawn. But the king is dashing in now. King is going to land to B5. This is very favorable now for Levi. 1 second for Kavi. He's going to flag. Kavi goes down. So Levi ends the match 2.5. Oops. So the final score, it was a close one. 9.5 to 6.5. The Banana Slugs take down the Aggies here in Division 13. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and for tuning in. I really appreciate it. That's it for today. That might be it for a while. I think that our next match is going to be this weekend on Saturday. We've got week 5 beginning. So keep an eye out for that. I'm assuming both these teams are going to be playing again, but I don't know if we'll be covering it. We're going to be focused more on Division 1 for sure. But to see the full schedule, you can go to our partners website over at NACE, !NACE in the chat. And to keep up to date on our announcements and whenever we stream next, we make all those posts on Discord as well as on Twitter if you follow our Twitter account. But yeah, that's it for me today. I really appreciate you all being here. Congratulations to the Banana Slugs, Santa Cruz, with a solid win, 9.5 to 6.5 over Utah State. But props to Utah State. They looked like they might have gotten blown out after that first round, 3.5 to 1/2, but they kept it close. Definitely a strong answer in round 2, but not enough to hold off Santa Cruz in the second half of the match. Yeah, thank you guys, and stick around. We'll send you off on a raid, and I will see you hopefully this weekend. Take care.